You are looking live.
Here comes the play. Goodman at the free throw line. Jumper.
He broke his ankles. He is Houdini.
Mickey Mantle don't care about you, so why should you care about him? Nobody cares.
That's not a good call. No.
You don't like that call.
I don't like that call.
Woo, 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 woo. Not so fast.
Here are my standings projection going into week 11, and these are fluid, so these will change over time. So don't get your panties in a bunch yet. So we'll start off with the AFC North. I have the Ravens winning. The Ravens would finish in first, Bengals in second, Browns in third, Steelers in fourth. I do realize that the Steelers are in second place right now in the AFC North, but they're just not a team that I'm buying just yet. They're just not convincing to me, and I don't know. There's just something about them that just I'm not buying yet. And so the Ravens, I have them finishing at 11-6. I have the Bengals finishing at 10-7. The Browns finishing at 9-8, and then the Steelers at 8-1. And I want to talk about the Steelers for a little bit. One more thing. So entering the season, we were talking about how Mike Tomlin has never had a team finish below 500. He's always had a team finish 500 or above, right? And we were saying that, or I was saying that this year he won't. It won't be that. It'll be he will either be under 500 or above 500. There's no 500 this year with 17 games, right? Well, he went and tied the Lions last week, so now there is a shot that he finishes 8-1 and is at 500. So that how weird would that be? Where just when you thought, hey, he'll either be above or below 500, there won't be any 500 this year with the extra game. Well, I mean, he went and tied, and I guess I didn't think about that when I said it, but how often does a tie really happen? But anyway, it's just something interesting that I thought about when I was doing these standings. The Ravens would be the 4th seed, and the Bengals would be the 7th seed in the playoffs in my projection. AFC South, Tennessee Titans first place, Colts second, Jags third, Texans fourth. Titans finishing with a 14-3 record, Colts finishing 7-10, Jags finishing 3-14, and then the Texans finishing 2-15. Right now, my model has the Titans as the first seed, getting the first round bye in the AFC playoffs. AFC East, Bills at 14-3, finishing first. The Patriots at 10-7, finishing second. The Dolphins at 5-12, finishing third, and the Jets at 3-14, finishing fourth. The Bills would be the 2nd seed, and the Patriots would be the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs. And then the AFC West, I have the Chiefs finishing first at 12-5, the Chargers finishing second at 11-6, the Raiders at third at 8-9, and then the Broncos at fourth, finishing 6-11. So I want to talk about the AFC a little bit more before we dive into the NFC. And so the AFC, there's a lot, and this year, both sides, whether you're talking about NFC or AFC, there's a lot of, there's a lack of clarity, right, in who's good and who's not. And so, my point is, 3 weeks ago, everybody thought, 5 weeks ago, everybody thought that the Bills were, going to run away with the AFC. And then they go and lose to the Titans, and then they go and lose to the Jaguars, and then everybody thought the Ravens were going to be the runaway team, right? Ravens were at the top, and everybody's like, okay, that's the team, right? That's it. And then, they go and lose to the Bengals. Then they go and lose to the Dolphins. And now nobody, everybody's counting them out. And then, people in the AFC, everybody was talking about, the Chargers are going to win that division, right? They're going to win. And then the Chargers fall apart. And then the Chiefs are coming back. And now the Chiefs are at the top of the AFC West somehow, and they were at the bottom of the division 5 weeks ago. And the AFC East, everybody was, again, talking about the Bills. They're going to run away with that division. The division is garbage. Nobody can keep up. And here come the Patriots winning 5 in a row. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, well, wait a minute. What's going on in Foxborough? We need to talk about the Patriots a little bit more. What's going on there? And then before that, around the same time that everybody was talking about the Ravens, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, look at the Bengals! Look what's coming out of Cincinnati with Joe Burrow over there." And then they, kind of fell apart. They lost to the Browns in blowout fashion. They lost to somebody else. I can't remember. And now everybody's kind of like, forget about the Bengals, right? And then everybody was saying, look at the Browns. Maybe the Browns are going to come out of that division. And then they go and get blown out by the Patriots. And now nobody has any confidence in the Browns. And then, after the Dolphins beat the Ravens, a lot of people are saying, well, all the Steelers need to do now, wait a minute, hold on a minute, right? The Steelers, all they need to do is beat the Lions. Seems easy enough. And they're at the top of the Afc North all of a sudden. Seemed like guaranteed. And then they go and tie the Lions, right? So nobody can nobody can get anything going in the AFC, right? Just when you're thinking, okay, this team, whether it's the division or the conference as a whole, anytime anybody is about to say, oh, wow, look at that team, they go and do something weird, right? They go and lose to somebody that they really should have beaten, or they go and they look terrible against another good, decent team. And then everybody scratches their head saying, well, where did that come from? And yet the only team that hasn't done anything like that yet is the New England Patriots. Sure, they started off 2-4, but now they've won 5 in a row, and they are now 7-4, looking to make a playoff run with their rookie quarterback Mac Jones. So, again, Raiders, they can't seem to get anything going. I think they're going to finish a mess. 8-9 seems fair to me. And so the Titans, right? Haven't really talked about them too much because they've been good lately. They've been hot. Their last loss was to the Jets, I believe. Yeah, their last loss was to the Jets, which was when Zach Wilson was still the quarterback. I think that was week 4 or 5. Can't remember off the top of my head. But they're a team that's interesting, and I'm not buying the Titans just yet. And it has nothing to do with Derrick Henry being out. They've been able to win games without him. They've showed that over the past few weeks. They've made that very clear. It has nothing to do with Derrick Henry. But in a way, it kind of does. But that's not my point. My point is their defense, and their defense has been good enough to win them games. Right? They stopped Josh Allen on a 4th and inches to win that game a few weeks ago. However many weeks ago. Sure, they got off to a rough start against the Cardinals, and sure they lost to the Jets, but since then they've been better. And I think their defense has been good enough to win them games, but people are, in my opinion at least, they're getting too hyped up about the Titans' defense. I'm just not buying them just yet. They were up by a comfortable margin against Trevor Siemian and the New Orleans Saints, and yet the Saints almost came back in that game, right? I think they were a 2-point conversion away from tying that game up. I'm not too sure. I was driving home or driving back to campus as the game finished, so I didn't catch that. But I think that's what happened. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. But the Titans, defense has been and sure, they played really well against the Rams. Remember, let's not forget that. But I don't know how much you can attribute that to the Titans defense and how much you can attribute that to the Rams just had a bad game. I think there's a little bit of both, obviously, but I don't know. I just there needs to be a game where they truly make and Stafford had I don't know. He hasn't been elite. He's been good, but he hasn't been elite. And so I think when you can go and carve up Matthew Stafford, it's okay, I guess I get it. Now if the Titans go and do that against who's out there that's unstoppable this year? If they go and do that against Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady hasn't, last few weeks haven't been great for him. But if they go and do that against, Kyler Murray and the Cardinals or Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, if they go and do that to another team at the top of the food chain, they did it against the Bills, right? But honestly, the Bills should have just kicked the field goal there, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know. I just think the Titans defense hasn't had the game where you're like, oh my God, they've been good enough to win games, which I'm not saying they're bad. Don't get me wrong, but they're not. I don't know. I don't know. They're just something that I feel like when it comes down to it, and it comes down to a game that matters against a really, really good team, I don't know that they're gonna hold up. I don't know if they're gonna hold up so well. So that's just something that I'm thinking about. And then here's the other thing, right? Tannehill has looked really good without Derrick Henry, and he's had to, right? He's had to have, carry the team a lot, or not carry the team, but he's had to have a lot more responsibility than he's probably used to. Because let's be honest, Adrian Peterson, Deontay Foreman, whoever else they're going to put out there is not going to live up to what Derrick Henry has provided the Titans in his career. So bottom line is Tannehill's had to do a lot more for the Titans, and so far he's been up to the task, and he's been able to do it. But I think that if a team comes into Tennessee and shuts down Tannehill, where else do you go, right? And so I think that once a team figures out how to shut down Tannehill, that's when you're going to see the Titans really start to struggle. And I think it's just a matter of time until somebody does it. And so I don't know. I just something to look out for. I'm not sure. I'm not saying the Titans are bad, right? They're 8-2 right now. They're top of the AFC. They're obviously good, but when looking at Super Bowl contenders, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. There's something that I need to see a game from them that's like, whoa, wait a minute. They might be able to win the whole thing without Derrick Henry, which is something that people thought they weren't going to be able to win a game without Derrick Henry. So there's still something more that they need to prove, for me at least, but we'll see how it shakes out. My projection of the NFC North, Green Bay Packers are going to run away with that division. First place at 15-2, Vikings in second, 6-11, Bears in third, 6-11, and the Lions in last, 15-1. Packers would be the first seed in the NFC playoff picture. And we'll get to them in a little bit. You might be saying 15-2. What? Hold your horses on that. NFC South, Buccaneers first place, 13-4. Panthers in second place, 10-7. Saints in third, 7-10, and Falcons in fourth, 6-11, which might be generous after the last 2 weeks that they've the last 2 weeks of football that they've put out there on the field. They've looked absolutely dreadful. So that 6-11 might change a little bit down the stretch. NFC East, Cowboys in first, 14-3. Eagles in second, 9-8. Football team 5-12 in third, and then the Giants in fourth at 5-12. NFC West, Cardinals in first, 15-2. The Cowboys would be the third seed in the playoffs. Eagles would be seventh, Panthers would be sixth, and Buccaneers would be fourth. Cardinals would be second, Rams would be fifth. I got the Cardinals finishing the NFC West at first place, 15-2. Rams in second place, 12-5. 49ers in third at 8-9, and then the Seahawks in fourth at 6-11. And when I made this mock-up and this projection, I didn't realize it until I went and put it on paper, or when I put it in print. I'm just going to say that right now. This is my own projection. There's no way the Cardinals are going to finish 15-2, and there's probably not. I mean, I don't know. I think the Packers are more likely to finish 15-2 than the Cardinals. But I don't know. To me, I don't know what I was thinking. I got to go back and look at the schedule. But there's no way the Cardinals finish 15-2. I don't, So I got to go back and that's something that's probably going to change in the future. Especially now, that's 15-2 with in a perfect world where everybody's healthy, and that's not where we're at right now. So, who knows? I don't know how long is Kyler Murray going to be out? How long is D-Hop going to be out? How long's they haven't really needed Chase Edmonds. Thus far, they've been able to really get the job done with James Conner. So, I think that it's really between Murray and because even Colt McCoy got hurt last week. So they're in real deep trouble if both of those guys are hurt. So, again, I'll have to go back and look at that because there's no way the Cardinals are finishing 15-2. The Eagles, right? You might be saying, well, wait a minute. The Eagles are 4-6. How do you have them finishing 9-8? Go look at their schedule. They got an easy schedule to finish things out. And I have one loss against the Cowboys, and then I have another loss against a team that they should have beat, right? Because there's always one of those that the Eagles seem to have in any given year. So I think 9-8 is realistic for the Eagles. And looking at the rest of the NFC, I think that, I got to go back and I got to look at the Cardinals and I got to go look at the Vikings as well, because the Vikings, I think 6-11 is like worst case scenario. I think they have I think the Vikings could very well fight for a spot in the playoffs and give the Eagles a run for their money for that last spot in the playoffs. The Niners as well. I wouldn't count the Niners out just yet. They're really inconsistent. I don't really know what to think about them. However, the Vikings, they always keep it close. So at least you know it's going to be a close game. Their problem is just finishing the deal. So if they can start finishing some of these games off, they're going to, their record's going to be a lot better than what maybe I think that it's going to be. And the Saints, I don't know. I just think that I just don't see it with Trevor Siemian. I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. Panthers at 10-7, that could really change. And that is me kind of thinking that they're going to be good, or they're going to return to some good football with Cam Newton at quarterback. I'm not saying I expect them to, but at the same time, it's just like a possibility that could happen. And again, that was another thing, just kind of looking at their schedule, saying, okay, well, I mean, they shut down the Cardinals. Again, I know the Cardinals were injured, but at the end of the day, you won the game. And, I think that the Panthers are another team that I have them right now at 10-7, but depending on how they play next week, it could either stay the same or it could really go down a lot. These next few weeks are going to be very crucial in terms of being able to tell whether or not Carolina is going to be good down the stretch of the season or not. And other than that, I don't really have too many other things to think about or to get to on my thoughts on this. Again, these are fluid. These will change over time. So stay tuned to Twitter page, and I might address these next week if it's a slow sports week. So there you go.